Fridge is a bit too big to get out. I'm thinking once I take that panel off, it'll drop down if I turn it sideways. Anyway, under where the fridge was, we have a bunch of water damage and rot. It just rained and snowed last night. We got some coming in there. You can see the top of the walls. This bed and the wood underneath has been redone. We've got rot coming in along that seam, under that window, a little bit under that window. Not too bad, but there was a bathroom behind that, so I doubt that these were replaced. They're just different because it was different backing for the bathroom. This section was where the black tank was, and then the connections going out that way. We got the heater, was right there. Plan is to pull all the paneling off the sides, and we're gonna do slatted boards. Might do some sort of gap or, you know, reclaimed wood to make it look rustic. And before we put it on, probably paint the insulation and framing. This is a combination aluminum and wood frame. The wood is stapled to the aluminum, I mean, just to keep it from moving up and down or side to side, forward and back. It's not going to be holding very much, you know, inside and out. But there's just too many holes, too many access points. You got hole, 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 two holes, hole down at the bottom. You got a vent hole, another hole. Of course, the vents on the top, the windows, and that's just that side. You got that vent, that window. We've got two holes behind where the fridge is sitting right now. The propane was down there, access to the fridge there. And that was framed out for a window, probably different options for the year. But like similar they do with cars, they build the frame to handle all the options, but they just don't put them in all the time. Like I said, the furnace goes there, and then the hole for the AC. We are going to cover up all the holes. The only vent we're going to need or keep is the furnace. Water heater will be internal. There will be a just a small gray tank for the sink and no bathroom. I'm going to use a cassette toilet, composting toilet, chemical toilet, something like that. See another access hole there. Oh, and the ones on the tub. There's two holes on the side. Those were to access the front of your bed. And up to the roof, just using my bedroom up here for easy access. Anyway, you can see the lap sealant is really degraded, falling apart. The roof is a tin roof, not a membrane or rubber. The previous owner said he installed that AC unit. Doesn't look like it's leaking from there, but that front corner, see all the water pooling up there and going around all the lap sealant. So plan is to pull everything off the roof, probably go with a standalone AC unit or something. It's not going to be super hot when camping, and try to get rid of most of the holes going from the outside to the inside and minimize water damage. And finally, we'll do a quick tour around the outside. So let's see if I can switch this, maybe not. Anyway, obviously door ladder was broken right there. We've got the hole for the heater, the hole for the water heater. That was just a tube to store your sewer line, gray water line. It does have manual jacks. The siding isn't in bad shape. It's been repainted. You can see the paint chipping right there in the corner. That was the battery box. We'll probably just do a standalone battery. You know, just a power pack or whatever that we can hook to solar. We can have a removable solar, or, you know, just something that you set up when you're at camp. Probably end up keeping the windows most likely in the same spot, but they may change a little bit. There's the water access. Previous owner redid the insulation and the framing along the bottom and then wood on top, but as you could see from the top and the inside, it's still leaking. You got the roof or the front window up there, you got, you can hear the wood underneath crunching as I push on there, so it's definitely water damage. I do like that this camper has access, most of them do, but has access to the back window of the pickup. There's a good spot where it's coming down. Right here. These jacks, when you don't have any pressure on them, you can twist them sideways. They stick out about 4 or 6 inches or so to accept a dually, so you can back a dually under here and not have to remove the jacks. That's handy. That was the propane fridge access here. And like I said, we're gonna try to get rid of all these access holes and minimize the possibility of leaking. Gotta get that fridge out one of these days. I mean, the siding is in good shape. We're still trying to decide whether we want to clean it up and do a bed liner, Rhino line, Herculiner, Raptor, whatever. And or if we want to just take the siding off and do wood side. I've been trying to find a lot of information on wood-sided campers, and I found a handful of people that do a wonderful job, make them look really pretty. Seems like they're sealing them with deck sealant, Thompson's water seal, some sort of outdoor waterproofing, and it just takes a little bit of maintenance once a year, once every couple of years, after you get a good base coat down to seal everything up. And I'd like to, see those same people, same videos years later and see how the trailer's holding up. I did see a what it was Rhino lined, or I think they used a Raptor liner, and anyway, after quite a while on the road, it held up really well. It looked really nice too. Able to choose your colors and do some sort of design or something, simple. It doesn't have to be just one solid color. With the roof, I'm thinking a membrane roof would only be a few $100 to, once I pull everything off, see how much damage is underneath, depending on how much OSB I need to replace on the roof and ceiling. And anyway, the PVC or rubber membrane liners would only cost a few $100 plus the glue to lay them down and a little bit of time. I do like the tin roof just because it's older, a little more retro, but I don't know functionality if it's gonna be any good. Let's see what else we can do. Like I was saying, on the insides, we'll finish pulling the paneling off, clean it all up, probably just paint this black, and then put slatted boards across the inside. That'll give it a little more rigidity, a little more strength. And then there will be little gaps that you can see through, but the idea behind that was to give it pretty aesthetics, and also if there's any leaks or issues, you might be able to see it a little quicker than just having solid paneling hiding the leak, hiding the issue for weeks and years and months and whatever it is. With that, you might be able to pick something out a little sooner and get the issue fixed before it turns out like this. The trailer was only a few $100. It was a really good deal. The previous owner wanted or used it for 20 some odd years, and he went rodeoing with his daughter. She was in the rodeo, would ride as a rodeo queen. He would announce, and they eventually moved up to bigger trailers where they could haul their horses and stay in the same trailer. Anyway, so we're going to try to incorporate that kind of theme, ropes, horseshoes, some sort of Western and rodeo theme to kind of stick with the previous owner's use of the trailer, and it fits pretty well with our style as well. So more videos to come, I guess. We'll see the progress and work on this thing as the winter goes on, and hopefully be using it in the spring. Taking off paneling and windows. I've always been curious about how the structure of these work. How when you got the wing here, the bottom of this, there's really no support. There's nothing holding that wall up. You can see on that side, it's just a thin piece of Luan. It just comes right off, and the only thing it's there for is wind or a little bit of insulation. There's no structure to it at all. It doesn't even hold weight sitting on it. There's a bench on that side, and it doesn't even hold your weight. But anyway, taking this window off, and it's no wonder why things are leaking. This hole for the window is cut way bigger than the actual window. This side, I got most of the screws out, but there's 2 on top. This one, the window isn't even sealed in. You can see it popping out there. I mean, once you take the frame off from the inside, the only thing holding it in place is the sealant. It's kind of like plumber's putty or putty tape, whatever you call it, but it's around the outside of the window and it'll hold it on. But if there's no sealant to any of that, then it's just gonna fall off. So anyway, and this, I don't know how much I like that. I mean, that's just for sleeping up here, but once you get a mattress up here, can't even sit up. So I'm thinking, I really like the look of a curved roof, and since I'm taking off most of the stuff on the roof, I'm thinking that on the outside of the roof, I'll have a vent which only sticks up a couple of inches once you're done. Like this side, you can see the vent is on the side, so it's not going to add too much height if I keep it on the side or if I just get rid of it completely. I don't know yet, but I would really like to do some roof joists that are curved, maybe make my own glue lam, or get a nice piece of like 1x10, 1x12, something like that, where I can cut a curve into it, and then I'd be able to add some height to the middle while the air conditioner sticks up 1.5 feet or so when I take that off. If we need a window unit or just a standalone unit or something, this is just going to be for camping, not living in, so it's not like a little bit of warmth is going to hurt you. You should be outside enjoying being outside. So I don't think we need an AC, but if we do, I'll add one later, window unit or something like that. But anyway, I can do a curved roof, might do tongue and groove on the outside, and then seal it up. And that way, when you're inside, you can still see the rafters, the joists going across, and have it be decorative at the same time as functional, adding a 1.5 feet to the middle of the roof here. So I mentioned not knowing about the structure of these things. I've always wondered how there's such a long, 6, 7, 5, whatever foot cantilever across the cab of your truck, and what's holding that up. Like, why the whole thing doesn't just start sagging and buckling. It had baffled me, and that's part of the reason I was pulling apart the walls. I've watched so many home camper builds, and what I think I've figured out, or had my brain understand, this wall in the middle, right here, you're holding up the sides. The sides are built as one unit, so this wall in the middle is holding all the weight from the sides. This wall going on the side, you've got your structure right there. That's what's holding this up. It's more of holding things up from the top than supporting anything from the bottom. So you've got your boards that go across on the inside, and that's what holds the weight of the bed up there. So if things were going to break, those boards would break, or it would pull that down and kink this. But it's hard to kink that with all of this back here. So it's the edges that are holding things up on the sides. Like I mentioned, this middle part, there's nothing to it. There's no weight. There's nothing holding the weight of the sides up. Otherwise, you would need gussets on the corner here, and you'd have to have a pretty good structure there. What's holding this together is this back wall, where it connects on the corners there. This back wall down on the bottom, and then these side walls. You can pretty much just forget about. I mean, there's some structure to this middle part because that's what's holding the back wall up. But you can pretty much just forget about this horizontal section, and the middle part, like I was pointing here, is holding the sides of the walls. The back is holding these sides, and that is what gives the counterweight or the strength to hold that cantilever up over the cab. And then of course the ceiling, the roof is just sitting on top of those two, so adding a little bit of weight. I don't know why, but I don't like the fact that there's so much wasted space. I know that's a issue on a lot of campers, sliding campers. You have, I'll zoom into that. You have your wheel well for your truck. That's what, 12 inches, 14 inches high. So that's a little bit high, but it only sticks out from the side of the truck 5-6 inches at the most. These newer trucks have a much wider bed. There's probably 4.5 to 5 feet between the wheel wells, and this is 4-ish feet. Once I have it in, I've got 4 or 5 inches on both sides, and that's just of the wheel wells. So why not build this out to where, you know, maybe you can go in a little bit and have storage or something. I was thinking maybe just build a platform, build your tub in the truck, and use every little bit of space that you can. And then when you're loading the camper, just load it, lift it up a little bit higher, slide it over the wheel wells, and then once you drop it down, it's also secured into place where it's not going to slide forward or back at all. And your tie downs don't have to do so much work, put so much pressure on the sides of the walls, pulling stuff down, and you'll have a lot more usable space on the inside. That might be a pain to lift it up an extra foot and a half to get the truck underneath it, but if you're not doing it very often, is that really that big of a deal? And the extra room that you have and the security that you would have from you know, not having that slide back and forth might be worth a little extra effort to load it. Just a thought. Also, I think I'm gonna beef this up quite a bit, this front section. We're gonna come up all the way to the ceiling and with a wall basically, and then just cut a U shape for access up into the front. Give us a little bit of separation from the sleeping area and the dining area. We're gonna have a bench here. The water tank was right there, you know, obviously framed in with a little bit of a bench. We might just use that for storage. Actually, I will. I don't want the water tank clear up there when the only water we're gonna have is the sink back here. So I'll probably just do a small removable or, you know, mobile water tank on the back where we can pull it in and out and just quick connect or something to the plumbing or the water pump. Anyway, we'll have a bench right here coming around. This side will be from about here back will be the sink, countertop, stove, our table. We're going to slide underneath the bed up here, be able to pull it out and set it down. You'd have a table, you know, side to side. If we turn it, we could have a full U-shaped table. Be a little tight in the back, but you know, smaller kids would be able to fit back there. When we want to use that table, we can turn it and put it along this side. So this whole 8-foot section right here could be countertop kitchen space. This side is going to be, you know, that side will probably be 3.5, 4 feet maybe. This side will be about 5.5, almost 6 feet to about here. And this side will have a kind of like a futon where you lift it up and it'll flatten out. So you can have a bed there. And then I will structurally build this wing, this horizontal part of the wing, so someone can lay on that. And when the bed's down, you can sit on that and you'll have a bunk bed. The bottom will be about 1.5 feet of room under that window. This side, you can take the table, turn it, put it down, and you'll be able to sleep side to side right there. There'll be a little bit of space right here as well. But so you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people sleeping. I've even thought of those cupboards on the top, just above the window, that the cupboard will fold down, and you can have a bed. So we could have a triple bunk over here. So 1, 2, 3, and it would be big enough and structurally strong enough to hold 3 adults. And then that one, just those 2, we might have something that pulls out from underneath the bed as well on a roller, you know, storage up there for the table, maybe a drawer that slides out. You can put support up in that back corner and have 1, 2 there and then 2 up front. You know, with the full wall in the U shape, I don't know if we'd be able to do that. We could have something that just lifts up from the wall. So anyway, be able to sleep 5, 6 adults. And if you really wanted, you could put something down on the floor and sleep a couple more people. So, you know, a lot of people in here. We don't have a ton of people that come with us all the time, but we do have my wife and I and a few kids almost every time we go camping. It'll be spacious and comfortable for just my wife and I, or there'll be enough room to shelter up if weather gets bad, and all the kids can sleep in here too. So I'm up here in the cab over sleeper section, and you can see there is some new wood down there. The previous owner said he used dowels, wooden dowels as well as screws to put that together, but you can see how just soaking wet. And we've only had one storm, wasn't even bad, just a trace of snow, probably rained for half an hour or an hour overnight, not much. And it has been very dry before that. But as you can see, rot, just straight rot. Everything up here leaks. Got rotted wood there, and yeah, it just falls apart. So this turned from a redecorate job. That's what I was looking for when I started looking. Redecorating to remodeling, you know, instead of just redecorating, to a complete structural rebuild. I'm definitely gonna be able to do the things I wanted to, like a curved roof, redoing the ceiling, the roof joists, a lot of the wood in the walls, and this part I started pulling off this wing, the L shape, for to get the fridge out. And once I got into it, I found that it was just also little 1x1 framing with Luan plywood around it. No structural support whatsoever except the side to side like this. So I can't see it too well, but I can push on this top part and it will tip side to side. The floor is just literally screwed in to the insides of the wall, this back wall and the front wall. It really doesn't give much support to it whatsoever. As you can see, I'll jump down. My stand that I built makes getting in and out easier. The stand I built of 2x4 with sandwiched in 7/16 OSB, and then I used scaffold X bracing to keep it from tipping side to side. It's pretty sturdy with 2x6, so it's not going left to right, just won't tip forward to back. But anyways, let me zoom in here. Just sitting on that is, just sitting on that's having it come apart. So what I'm going to do is build a 2x6 frame in the bottom of the truck, maybe 2x4. I need the height, because if it sat just how it was, not sitting on top of anything, the cab over portion sits on the roof of my truck. So we don't want that. I've got a full glass sunroof on that, so we don't want anything touching that. But if I build a 2x6 frame, go a little bit further, I think I'm going to come out of the truck here, and I'll do a porch patio thing. I want to build it so I can keep my tailgate down. This year Ford just had a recall because the tailgate was opening unintentionally, so they just replaced all the wiring, and they went through and they did a firmware update, replaced all the wiring underneath, so I really don't want to be taking the tailgate off and on. It's probably fixed now, but they said the connections down there is what caused it, so I don't want to be messing with that. So I want to be able to keep my tailgate down, and these ones came with a insert. You can, when the tailgate's down, you can pull that out and it turns into a step, and that will be the step that we use to get into the trailer. So anyway, I'm going to build that frame on the bottom, and then the walls right here and up there will sit on top of the frame. Then I'll do a furring strip and screw it into the walls, and anyway, we'll have full support on top of the base of the camper. Over here, still not positive what I'm going to do. I might come up at an angle. That will definitely help with the structure and holding the walls in place, keeping it from shearing side to side. And it'll hold a lot more weight. It'll also, if it's coming at an angle here, I'll have progressively more space as it comes up. I know it sits, the lip of the truck might be an issue. I think I'm just going to set it in the truck when I build all that stuff. When I build the platform on the bottom, and I'll build the platform in the truck. I'll jack this up, I'll back up underneath it and get everything set, and I'll just build it to itself, build the platform to the sides while it's sitting in the truck, and then and then I can take it back out once I get everything put together that way. So definitely going to rebuild that front section. You can see the siding's the only thing holding that stuff up. I wanted to keep the siding and possibly do a truck bed liner. I think I'm going to have to go with plywood on the outside as well, and then do a truck bed liner on top of the plywood. And I think that'll make it a lot more sturdy. Insides I'm still going to keep like this. I might do furring strips on the inside to make it a little deeper and insulate it better, since it's only 1 by 1. You know, after 1 inch is finished, it ends up being 5/8 of an inch thick. It's not very thick at all. It's light. I'm not too worried about weight either. That truck is rated for, it's a 350 long bed. I believe it's like 6,700 pounds or something. The low end is 4,000. And I have scales at my work. And when I bought this, so completely done, I took it over the scale, and this weighs 2,600 pounds. I think once I pulled everything out, we're probably down to 1,500 pounds, maybe close to 1,000. So not much weight at all, and we're not going to be putting a whole lot back in. It's going to be just a pretty simple design: bench seat, bed, kitchen table. I believe we're going to do a small wood stove over here. Probably use that the existing skylight to do the chimney out of. Maybe do a removable chimney so it doesn't stick up out while I'm driving. I want to keep it under about 12 feet. 14 is legal, but 8 feet wide and maybe 12 feet tall. But anyway, that's the progress.